Tonight, you will close your eyes and travel somewhere that doesn't exist. You'll speak to people who have been dead for years. You'll fly, fall, run from something you can't name. And when you wake up, you'll shake it off, make coffee, and move on with your day. But here's what no one ever tells you. What happens in that sleeping mind of yours is not a modern glitch. It is ancient. It is shared. And the real answer to why you dream is far stranger than anything your sleeping brain could invent. For most of human history, your ancestors didn't have therapy. They didn't have psychiatrists, self-help books, or late-night scrolling to help them process the world. What they had was the night. What they had was the dream. Researchers have long assumed that dreaming is a universal human experience, but only recently have scientists started asking what ancient dreams were actually about. The answer changes everything you think you know about your own sleeping mind. Kelly Bulkley, a dream researcher at the Graduate Theological Union in Berkeley, spent years analyzing thousands of dream reports collected from cultures separated by thousands of miles and thousands of years. His conclusion was blunt. Across every culture he studied, dreams fell into predictable patterns. Being chased, falling, flying, losing teeth, being naked in public. These are not modern anxieties. These patterns show up in records from ancient Mesopotamia, dynastic Egypt, classical Greece. Your brain has been running the same nightmare software for at least 5,000 years, probably much longer. So what does that tell you about what ancient humans dreamed about? It tells you that your sleeping mind is not producing noise. It is producing something deeply functional, something old. Anthropologist David Lewis Williams, who spent decades studying rock art left by Paleolithic humans, argued that many of the most ancient images humans ever painted on cave walls were dream images. The spirals, the animals morphing into people, the floating figures. These were not decorative. They were attempts to capture and make sense of something the dreaming mind had already seen. You have to sit with that for a moment. The oldest art your species ever made may have come directly from dreams. Your brain does something remarkable every night. It enters a phase called REM sleep, named for the rapid eye movement that happens beneath your eyelids. During REM, your motor cortex is essentially paralyzed. Your body cannot move. But your visual cortex, your emotional processing centers, your memory systems, those are firing as if you were wide awake. Sometimes more intensely than when you are awake. Your brain is running a full simulation, and it has been doing this since long before you were born. Evolutionary biologist Antti Revonsuo proposed a theory that caused serious debate in neuroscience circles. He called it the threat simulation theory. His argument was this: the primary evolutionary function of dreaming is rehearsal, specifically the rehearsal of threatening situations, because for most of your evolutionary history, threat was everywhere. Predators, rival groups, starvation, disease. The human lineage that survived wasn't just the strongest, it was the lineage that was best prepared. And dreaming, Revonsuo argued, was one of the ways your ancestors prepared. Running from something in a dream trained the fear response. Being caught and surviving the nightmare made the waking experience less paralyzing when it actually came. Think about that the next time something chases you in your sleep. Your ancient brain isn't torturing you. It is training you. But threat rehearsal is only part of the story. Because not all ancient dreams were nightmares. Not even close. Archaeological records from ancient Mesopotamia, dating back to around 2000 BCE, contain some of the earliest written dream records ever found. The Assyrians kept dream diaries. The Babylonians consulted dream interpreters the way you might consult a doctor today. In ancient Egypt, certain temples were built specifically to induce healing dreams. Priests would sleep inside sacred chambers and wait for visions that would diagnose illness or reveal divine instruction. The practice was called incubation. You would go to the temple, purify yourself, lie down, and wait for the god to speak to you while you slept. This wasn't fringe behavior. This was medicine. This was governance. In ancient Greece, the god Asclepius was believed to appear to sick pilgrims in their dreams and tell them how to heal themselves. Thousands of verified testimonials from these dream temples still exist. Patients would travel hundreds of miles hoping to dream the right dream. Your ancestors took dreaming seriously in a way that modern culture has almost entirely abandoned. For them, the sleeping mind was not a malfunction. It was a channel. Now here is where it gets genuinely strange. Because when researchers look at dream reports from indigenous cultures with minimal contact with modern civilization, something remarkable appears. The content is different, not completely different. The threat dreams still show up. The chasing, the falling. But the emotional tone is different. The integration of nature is different. Animals appear more frequently, and not as symbols, but as active participants. Community figures appear. Ancestor figures appear. In many traditional cultures studied by anthropologists, dreaming is not considered a private event at all. It is communal. You dream on behalf of your community. You bring the dream back, and it is interpreted collectively because its meaning is not just yours. It belongs to everyone. Think about how alien that concept feels to you right now. You wake up, you might text a friend about a weird dream. Maybe you laugh about it. For most of human history, that dream would have been brought to the fire and examined like evidence. There is a Jungian framework developed by Carl Jung in the early 20th century that anticipated this in a strange way. Jung proposed the concept of the collective unconscious, the idea that certain images and archetypes exist below the individual mind, shared across all of humanity. He called these archetypes the shadow, the hero, the wise old man, the great mother. The same figures that appear in myths across every culture also appear in dreams. The monster you can't outrun has a name in every language. The wise figure who appears at just the right moment lives in every culture's stories. Jung thought this was not coincidence. He thought dreaming was the place where the individual mind touched something that belonged to the whole species. Modern neuroscience hasn't confirmed Jung's metaphysics, but it has confirmed something adjacent. The same neural architecture that produces your dreams is the same architecture that produced theirs. 10,000 years ago, across every continent, humans were lying down in the dark and watching stories unfold behind their closed eyes. Stories about danger and desire, loss and flight, the dead coming back and the impossible becoming real. And those stories, in their broad strokes, were the same stories you watched last night. Because here is what the science of dreaming keeps running into. The brain doesn't change quickly. Evolution is slow. The brain your ancestors used to survive the savannah, to read social hierarchies, to predict predator behavior, to form and maintain alliances across a group. That is the same brain you carried into bed tonight. Its hardware is ancient. Its software is ancient. And one of the oldest programs it runs is the dream. There is something almost disorienting about sitting with that. The ancient human curled up near a fire 50,000 years ago, listening to the darkness beyond the cave entrance, waiting for sleep. They closed their eyes and their brain ran the same simulation yours does now. Different images, different languages, different gods and predators, but the same need. The same strange internal theater, performing its rehearsals, firing its signals, trying to prepare a fragile creature for a world that was almost always more dangerous than the creature could fully comprehend. Tonight, when the sun goes down and you pull the covers up, your brain will do something it has done every single night for hundreds of thousands of years. It will wait for you to let go of the waking world. And then it will take you somewhere. Somewhere with its own rules, its own logic, its own ancient inherited grammar of fear and hope and strangeness. You did not invent dreaming, you inherited it. And somewhere in that inheritance is every human who came before you, closing their eyes in the dark and wondering what the night would bring. That wonder has never left. It just learned to sleep.